Okay, this is going to be lesson 2-4, and we're going to be solving equations with variables on both sides. So we're going to be looking at two objectives today. We're going to be looking at how to solve an equation, and then we're also going to look at something that's called identities, or something that has no solution. So there's two different ones. Some of you may have been taught about infinitely many solutions, and that's what we'll talk about here in a little bit. All right, so let's go and zoom in on our first example here. And so when we have equation or a variable on both sides of our equal sign, okay, if you're still the person that needs to kind of draw that wall down, okay? And what you're going to do is you're just going to move one of the x's over, okay? It doesn't matter which one. A lot of times will move the smaller guy over so it stays positive, but it doesn't matter. So in this case, I'm going to subtract the 2x over. Again, if you choose to subtract the 5x, that would have been okay. But notice I'm lining my x's up. Get your x's on the same side and put them together. So here I'm going to have 3x plus 2 equals 14. Now, this should be back to a review problem like we've been doing in the last few lessons. So next thing I'm going to do is subtract 2 off. And I'm going to get 3x equals 12. And then divide by 3. So x equals 4 is my answer for this problem. Like I said, key things here, you got to get the variables on the both sides. It doesn't matter if you choose to subtract 5x or subtract the 2x. Just make sure they get together on the same side and that you combine them. Okay? All right, let's try the next one here. And on this guy, because we have negatives, okay, we're going to be adding. Again, it doesn't matter what goes where. Okay, so just get your k's together first. So I'm going to add 7k to both sides. So those cancel. So I have a 2 equals negative 4 plus 7 is 3k minus 10. Now I'm going to add the 10 over to the other side. Like I said, this part's just review. And we're going to get 12 equals 3k. So again, we divide by 3. And 4 equals k. All right, now you will be required on all quizzes and tests to show every step. If you try to do a bunch of mental math, I will not give you full credit for something like this, okay? So because our equations are getting more complex, I expect to see all work shown. All right, let's go to C here. Okay, now on C, we took a look at this in the last section. The only difference is now you're going to have to distribute that 7 to both parts, and then you're going to distribute the 3 to both parts. So you got distributing on both sides of your equal sign here. So I'm going to get 28 minus 7a equals 3a minus 12. So the first thing I did is distribute. Now, once I distribute, now it's just back to like we just did on A and B, move things from side to side. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 7a over. Okay, and I will always move my variables first. Part of that is just because how I was taught. So 28 will equal 10a minus 12. Now add the 12 to both sides. So that cancels, and I end up with 40 equals 10a. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 10 here, and I'm going to get 4 equals a. Okay, again, must show work for full credit on all tests and quizzes. Okay, and that includes homework too. All right, now this guy, holy moly, we got a lot of things to talk about in this guy, okay? First thing I would do, we just got done talking about clearing fractions, so we are going to clear fractions here, but before we clear it, I'm going to go ahead and distribute and kind of get all my fractions laid out, and then I'm going to work through clearing a fraction. All right, so I'm going to take half of 4 and get 2f minus, and I'm just going to leave this as 3 halves, okay? All I did was multiply, and again, if you need to do a little math off to the side, 1/2 times 3 over 1, and then just multiply straight across. And that's how I'm getting 3 on top and 2 on the bottom. Minus 5f equals 3/4 f minus 1/4. So the only thing I've done so far is distribute, okay? Now, you have an option here. You can either go ahead and clear your fractions at this point. If you want to go ahead and put the f's together, because see how you have f's on the same side of the equal sign, okay? So in this case, I'm not going to be moving things from side to side yet until I get things cleaned up. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the 2f and the negative 5f together and get negative 3f. So you have to distribute and then combine like terms. Those are really two important steps, okay? And we hit that the last section. Minus 3 halves. And then on the right-hand side here, I have 3/4 f's minus 1/4. Okay, so now I need a common denominator, okay? So what I'm going to do is basically multiply everything here by 4. My common denominator of 2 and 4 is 4. So I'm going to multiply all sections by 4, okay? And you can write one big 4 out front or little 4s. So when I do that, I'm going to get negative 12f. Here, this guy's going to cross cancel to a 1 and a 2. So I'm going to get minus 6 equals, all right, this guy, the 4s will cancel because it's 4 over 1. Equals 3f, and then it'll be the same thing here. The 4s will cancel, and you're left with a minus 1. Okay, now this should look like what you just worked on the previous examples on this video. Okay, so now, I'll zoom out here a little. Okay, so now I'm going to start moving things from side to side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the 12f over. Again, I like to try to keep it positive if I can, and part of that is just how I was taught. So I have negative 6 on this side. Again, extend that wall if you need to. Equals 15f minus 1. Now I'm going to add the 1 over to the other side. Get negative 5 equals 15f. And then divide by 15. Now in this case, this is going to be a fraction answer. Just make sure you reduce it down to 1/3 equals f. Now, that one was a big dog. That basically took care of every single thing you need to know about fraction work. You need to know how to distribute. You need to know to combine like terms when it's on the same side as that wall. So same size of wall, combine like terms. We talked about clearing a fraction, and now we're moving things from side to side all the way down, and then we're reducing our fraction at the end. Okay, so that's a tough one. If you can get through that one, you can get through most of them. All right, let's go down here and let's look at E. Okay, so again, we're going to go ahead and just distribute. So I'm going to take my 2 through and get 10x plus 12 equals 10x plus 12. Okay? Now, if you see this, whenever you see it, when you notice they're exactly the same on both sides, you're done. You don't have to solve it. Now, if you didn't realize that they're the same on both sides, and you subtracted the 10x from both sides, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 10x from both sides, and those will cancel, and you're going to get 12 equals 12. So again, now you see that they're the same on both sides. Whether you saw it back here at 10x plus 12 and 10x plus 12 or 12 equals 12, it's going to be the same thing. It's called all real numbers. That means every problem on the number line, or sorry, every number on the number line is an answer here. 1, 2, negative 100, negative 1/3, positive 2 and 1/4. It doesn't matter what number I put up here, they will always be the same on both sides. Okay, now the abbreviation for this, which is what you're going to see me use a lot of, just make like 2 lines and then extended the R. And that's all real numbers. Okay, and this would be your answer right here. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one here. Okay, so on this guy, okay, again, look on either side. We don't have to distribute. Then step 2, combine like terms. So in this case, I've got a 3m and a 12m. I'm going to put them together. Okay, so negative 3m and 12m is 9m plus 5. Over here, I have 9m minus 4. Okay, I'm going to subtract 9n from both sides. And again, the same thing happens just like on the last problem. The only difference here is this one is negative 4 equals 5. That does not work. You can't have a negative 4 equals 5. So in this case, this answer would be no solution, or a 0 with a line through it. I would accept either one of those answers. Okay? All right, let's go over to the next page now. Okay, on this problem, we are going to be defining a variable, writing an equation, solving it, and then using a complete sentence. Okay? It takes a graphic designer 1.5 hours to make one page of a website. Using new software, the designer could complete each page in 1.25 hours, but it takes 8 hours to learn the software. How many pages would the designer have to make in order to save time using the new software? Okay, so let's start by defining our variable. And we're looking for the number of web pages so that she can save, or he or she can save some time. So I'm going to put W, and that's going to be equal to number of web pages. Okay? So now what we want to do is write an equation where we have without This is abbreviation for without software and with software. Okay, and so we're going to set both of these ideas equal to each other so we can figure out the number of pages it would take for them to be equal. Okay, so let's go back up here and kind of look at without. So without software, it takes an hour and a half to do one page. Okay, so I'm going to put 1.5 W equals, all right, and let's go up and see what it takes. The other one takes 1.25, but it also takes an additional 8 hours just to figure out the program. So you're going to have 1.25 W for the number of web pages plus 8 hours. Okay, so now that you have your equation written here, okay, so again, I just took the number of how long it takes without the new software versus how long does it take with the new software, and we're going to figure out how many pages they can actually get done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. I'm going to subtract the 125W off from each side. So I'm going to end up with 0.25W equals 8. Then I'm going to divide by 0.25 on both sides. All right, and I'm going to divide that and find out that I get 32. Okay, so now again, write your sentence explaining what this means. So they will be equal with 32. Oh, that said 22. Let's put 32. 32 web pages. So if we're going to do less than 32, it's probably not a good idea to get the software. But if you're going to do a lot of web pages, then I would say go ahead and get that software. So they'll be equal when they have 32 pages of software or of web pages. Okay? All right, that completes today's notes for lesson 2-4. So if you have an assignment to do, go ahead and finish it. If not, then thanks.